Welcome back to another episode of the Downsizing Roadmap podcast with your hosts, Jody Roscoe and Heather Fisher. We're talking about all things downsizing, from our own experiences with clients to guest experts. Let's make downsizing easier, one conversation at a time.
Hi, welcome to Downsizing Roadmap. We are talking today about downsizing before retirement, when you're still in that active workforce lifestyle, but maybe starting to think even earlier than what we consider, the time that a lot of people do it to start thinking about downsizing. Yep. I'm Heather Fisher.
I'm Jody Roscoe. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people think, oh, we have, that's a later thing, but sometimes that's an earlier thing. The house is big, you have kids and you have a big house for the kids and the kids go off to college and maybe the house is just too big and maybe you want to split it up and do some different things with your money and maybe you want to buy a house in another area, who knows, but just some thought process into, is this really what we want right now? Or are we ready to make this move even though we're not retired yet?
Yeah, I think, I'm at the verge of this myself and going through a move and in my 50s and making choices as we do that are not choices I need now, but trying to look way down that road of what do I want to enjoy now, making things streamlined and a little bit of a lighter life as far as stuff and flexibility, but also planning where we were going to go and how we were going to choose what we wanted based on in the future wanting to stay there as long as possible. Yeah,
because maybe it's more of right sizing too. It could just be, you want single floor living and it's maybe the house is just the same size. It just is a ranch with a basement or whatever and still has the same square footage instead of a 2-story or something like that, or just has a different layout that works better for you, maybe less yard or whatever that looks like.
Maybe more open entertainment space for family gatherings, but less bedrooms or, less steps, lots of choices.
Yeah. So I guess it's just kind of thinking about, okay, we're in this big house and where are we going to go next? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, and choosing exactly what you want for that next move. There's a couple reasons we can talk about why it's smart to do this before you retire. If there's going to be a mortgage involved in that next purchase, you still have an active income that you can, use to get that mortgage and to be paying that down, before that might be more limited. Physically, you're still mobile and capable, and the move is easier than it might be later on. And then you'll have so much time to enjoy that next space that you choose by doing it early.
Yeah. I think that thing about the mortgage is key if you are going to need one. And, I think there's something about people feeling like if they have a big house and they go to a little house, the little house should be less expensive. And sometimes it's actually not. I mean, that's how that used to be. But sometimes if the house is newer and, in a different kind of a configuration, sometimes they're in the same price range. And so it may be that you're just transferring the whatever leftover mortgage you have now on the house that you have now to the other one. But you may still have a mortgage on it, especially if you haven't retired and you're not really in that space quite yet. So in that they're going to check your income and all of those things. And so if you have not retired yet, that is helpful.
Yeah, I think, if the choices we're making are, less maintenance or more updated features that you're not going to have to deal with, that oftentimes is a newer constructed home and that price point is not going to be downsized on that just in our current market.
Which is okay because you've spent the time, right? Step one is being dreamy. So you've spent the time to figure out what that is that you want to look at, what you want to be doing in your life, what your hobbies are going to be. Things might have changed in your life. And so start to think about what that's going to look like and who you were when you had the kids, who are you now? Maybe that, you're empty nesters, and what is that going to look like? And what kind of house would fit that, new life that you're going to have?
Yeah, I think we're always struggling, waiting for the perfect time and trying to figure out when that is. But Everyone that we meet that has gone through this process and downsized, they're always saying they wish they had done it sooner. So this is the sooner.
Yeah.
And I don't think you'll regret it.
Well, and there's never
time.
a perfect time,
Yeah.
right? Never a perfect time to have kids, never a perfect time for any of that stuff in big life changes, right? So just if you're feeling like, ugh, I don't want to dust this extra rooms that we have, or, whatever that is, maybe that's your cue that it's time to start thinking about what that could look like.
Yeah. So some of the struggles, not even cons, but some of that is that you are doing this, trying to balance the move with a full-time job and a busy life, and definitely living this in the moment. Don't let that be a stopping point to you. Just take one step at a time, good planning, handle your stuff and, what the change in that looks like well before the move. And just try to simplify each of those things as much as possible. Decide what taking time off for the actual move and packing and sorting, what that looks like, or how you can break projects into weekends and things leading up to a change in your life.
Yeah. So you have, a lot of times we talk about people that are in crisis or things that you have to deal with quickly. This is the literal opposite of that, right? So you have all the time. And so create the long haul plan, right? Our roadmap can be short and our roadmap can be long. So you're going to create the long haul plan on this one and break it up into little pieces and figure out, you can do a room or you can do a drawer. You can take a year to go through your stuff. You can, do all of that stuff, just knowing that that's the path that you're on in the future.
Yeah, this is definitely a good time for one of our longer based challenges that we've laid out on how you can break up this whole process over the course of a year. You could make it even longer, but you're moving towards that dream, and that's always the place to start.
Yeah. So, if you are literally putting your house on the market, you may have to take a little time off, to get it ready and have showings and, do those things. Although you can do that while you're working. I mean, they can schedule the showings. You just have to make the house perfect before you leave in the morning. Tons of people do that all the time. So, and so there might be a little bit of time that you want to take off when you're actually moving. You can probably speak to this because you have been, you've had a house that you're building and you're going to move into it. And you've done all of that, around work for the most part.
Yeah, we've been trying to just break things up, over the weekends and know different areas of the house that we've needed to go through. And, we're pretty ready. So we just went on the market and, had the busy showings and all of that, but we weren't home and, took a few weekends of just making it show ready and doing that deep clean and all of that. But the rest of the process can happen around you, and we're tired. It's not, a move is never snapping your fingers and it happens, but we did it and you guys can do it.
Yeah. So from my side of it, I would get, okay, it's attic weekend. And then, she would get it and she would be doing it. And then at the end of the weekend, I'd get the picture of all the bags and all of the stuff that, was coming out of that area, that was either going to donation or she had a big pile of stuff that needed to go. Cause I think there was stuff up in the attic that wasn't even yours to begin with. But I know it's physically stressful a little bit and emotionally stressful a little bit, but I also have seen you be like, oh, that's done, and that feels so great, each little piece of it as you're going along.
Yeah, and I think we're in a good place where as we actually make the physical move, we've tried so hard this year to follow, this advice that we're giving every week and to really streamline what we're taking. So I think it will be a relatively easy move. We're mostly packed and ready to go and probably won't even fill up much of a truck to get it over there.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll feel so good. And then you'll have, free space there and it won't feel packed and it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited for you. This has been a long time coming for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just to remind your mindset, this can be a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So just moving forward in progress, I did get to a point where We've been planning this for a little bit, and early on I did some projects and went through some stuff, and then I went through that middle ground period where I was like, oh, we have plenty of time. And, so you just have to be careful not to let too much of those weeks go by of we don't need to do that yet. We have plenty of time, because then you can end up with that last minute sprint.
Rush.
So just make sure that you are just moving forward slowly and taking little chunks and getting them done.
Yep. So, as far as budgeting, when you're still working, your income, it just gives you more options. So use that strategically, right? So, how that impacts your move financially is that you get better options, you get better loan options, you get maybe potentially a better loan rate while you're still employed. You would have to talk to a mortgage person about that, but there are definitely advantages in that arena. It's easier to qualify for a second home or a bridge loan because you have the income to pay those both at the same time if that's what you need to do. You have a bigger ability or a better ability to make improvements on your own home. If a real estate agent comes out and says, hey, you need to fix this, this, and this, you have the income because you're still working to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can plan for the expenses that are related to the move. If you still have that income coming in and it's not so fixed, you might, like Jody said, there might be an overlap of double housing costs as you make the transition, some time off from work while you're doing the actual move. Not something we want to recommend, but some storage or temporary space, just get rid of the stuff instead, downsize that. But sometimes that's needed. Or hiring professionals to help you. Time and money are different currencies. So sometimes hiring resources, if your time and your schedule is full, you have some income to do that.
Yeah, there's organizers, move managers, people who can help you pack up things or unpack things or whatever. There's plenty of options if you want some help on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you were talking about the storage, and you're like, just get rid of it. So Heather had a storage unit for a while because she moved from her house to Matt's house, and you thought you were going to move to your new house a lot sooner, but then COVID and all the things create some
delay in there.
Crazy life happened. So she's had stuff in the storage unit for a while. I should let her tell the story, but I'm going to tell it from my point of view. And so she was going through it, trying, getting ready for the move, and there was so much stuff that you had gotten rid of a lot of stuff too, because I remember that big pile that was in the old garage before we sold it, right?
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. So you did get rid of a lot of stuff, but still you're like, why did I bring this? I don't want to be like, I don't need this. And I think sometimes it takes that clarity of time not looking at it, and then you realize, but so somehow you have to figure out without taking the time, and that clarity is like, you don't need that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that on different episodes, but trying not to just recreate the space you had, but being dreamy about your next space. I think that's where I'm finding a little bit of, things I thought were pretty or I liked, but they don't meet the life I'm building now, as far as it being a completely different space that, I probably held on to it because I'm like, that goes exactly here in
the old house.
In this space. And it's challenging for all of us. But that's mostly the things I'm finding.
And for you hadn't seen the new space yet, right? The house wasn't built. So you hadn't seen the new space to be like whether there was a place for that thing or not. So maybe you have some maybe boxes that are in the storage. But I think as we get somewhere new, we definitely want to start fresh in some ways. Obviously, there's things that are legacy things that we want to bring with us, but give yourself that freedom to start fresh with new sofa, new accessories, whatever that looks like, so you can make that transition into your next place really feel like a transition, not just like we've taken all exactly the same things and put them in the next place. So
yeah, I think one thing financially to look at too when we're talking about the different costs involved, is looking at, that new place and making sure that the budget for the new place aligns with a future retirement. So just taking a look at not only where you are now while you're still working, but how am I making a plan that this, new housing will work for me when I want to retire.
On your
so
retirement
that you
income.
Have,
Yeah.
so that you have that plan and that flexibility to do that when you want to.
Yeah. And if you're moving to a smaller place, I mean, you might have less utility bills, less maintenance, you might have less bills, honestly, for that next place. So that is something that you can put into that financial plan as well, making sure, you don't have to budget for quite as much utilities and all of those things.
Yeah. One other thing that's always a huge consideration when someone's looking for their next home is location. And so if you're still working, you have that other factor as far as your commute. Do you work from home? That takes that out of the equation. But deciding, do I want to be close to work for my now life, or do I want to take on a little bit further of a commute or look into options from working from home so that I'm ready for my non-working, retirement lifestyle, and just trying to look for your own plan as to which of those feels better, and when retirement, how soon retirement's on the horizon, and making, again, a choice for that future life, not only the stage that you're at now.
Yeah. So yes, it's a twofold. It's actually a little more thinking. It's a little more thinking, but I think it's easily done, and you're moving your way towards that next phase. So make sure that it's working for that.
Yeah. So maybe that's looking for a home that has, a space that you can use as a home office for either work from home or just the things we all do for our jobs at home. But as you look forward and may not need that in the future, what else could that space be used for? Is that still a great layout for you?
Craft room, hobby room, something instead of an office. You'll still have bills to pay, but instead of like a full-on office, could it be something like that?
Yeah, that dual use, absolutely. So it's really just making decisions based on two lifestyles,
right,
and being dreamy and creative about how they can work to get you fully set up for when you do retire and move on to that next stage in life, but also give you everything you need and want to enjoy it now, and start just living a little bit lighter, a little bit freer.
Yeah. And you could also pick a home in another place, right?
Yeah.
So you could downsize into a smaller home in your current area where your job is. Maybe your job is flexible. Maybe you can move to that new place now. I mean, there's so many things that you could think about if you kind of start to think out of the box of like, hey, I'm not stuck here necessarily. Stuck's not a good word, but I'm in a school district for my kids, or, like whatever, right? We have opened up all kinds of options. So what could that look like? Do I need to stay here because I need to go into the office a few times, a week or a month, or every day, or is my job more remote and I could move somewhere else? And if I want to move somewhere else in the end, like if your kids have landed somewhere else and you want to move there, what about, buying something there and doing a long-term or short-term rental in that property, and just letting that, percolate over there. Maybe if you did a short-term rental, you can stay there a few times a year, see the kids, and still have income coming out of it while you're working. Move yourself into a smaller house here, wherever that is, and be able to still commute to your job from that smaller house, and just split that lifestyle up, right? There's so many options.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, and it's such a great way to start teetering on that edge of retirement and moving to where you want to land, but doing it in a smart financial way to bring in some rental income from that short-term rental option, where you choose the weeks you want to be there and rent it out the rest of the time.
Yeah, because while you're still working, that's the time you have the biggest income, right, to get that second mortgage on that second home or whatever that looks like. So later you might not be able to have that option to buy another second home, just depending on what your retirement income looks like. And or that pricing of that area might have, gone up to a place where that isn't something that you can buy now. So real estate, the best time to buy it was, 10 years ago, and the second best time is right now.
Yeah, well, you're paying down that mortgage on your retirement home, and you're enjoying it the weeks that you can, all in one combined plan.
Yeah.
Because you thought about it early, and it can put something that feels like an out of reach dream, into a plan that is doable. And as with anything, when you get started early, it's that compounding effect of
Correct.
paying it down, or compounding interest if it was a retirement account. Time always works on your side.
Yep. So 30% of pre-retirees say they regret not moving sooner. I know this is a trend. Y'all hear these quotes that we say over and over again, or these statistics that we say over and over again, but the statistics are very much in the wish I would have done it sooner, no matter, even if you're younger and doing it. So when we talk about older people, they say they wish they had done it sooner, but even the younger people are saying they wish they had done it sooner. So
yeah, I think there's just so many creative options out there where we can all, put that dream on paper and make it happen. So I think that's what we're encouraging people to do. Don't just stay where you are because you've always been there, but really take a look at what you want that life to look like, and go out and grab that, and make some early decisions to really enjoy each phase of your life, and put thought and planning into it.
yes, yep. That's it. So, if you're feeling like, hey, this house seems a little big for me, or this isn't working, or I don't want to mow that lawn one more time, or does that whatever one more time, then sit down and put some dreamy thought into what needs to happen next in your life, and then start making small steps towards it.
Yeah, if you need help with that strategy, we are always open to that conversation on how we can make, the real estate part of those plans come to fruition for you, and learn about what it would look like to have that second home, that rental, or just a move to something different at this stage in life. So reach out to us, our website, downsizingroadmap.com. You can contact us through there, and we look forward to helping.
Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on the Downsizing Roadmap podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might need a little downsizing inspiration. Have questions or ideas for future episodes? Reach out to us on our website, www.downsizingroadmap.com. Until next time, let's keep simplifying and moving forward.